The Subway $3 flatbread breakfast combo is the best deal around. Get a 6-inch flatbread breakfast sandwich with a 16-ounce cup of coffee or 21-ounce fountain drink, all for just $3. It's flat out delicious. Subway. Eat fresh.
The BS Report is a free-flowing conversation that occasionally touches on mature subjects.
First of all,
This is the BS Report with Bill Simmons.
it might be cool, I don't know. And if it's not, I don't care.
The BS Report with Bill Simmons.
Bill Simmons works for ESPN. He's also named the sports guy, and he writes a comical sports column. He must be a popular dude.
The BS Report.
It's got a real dirty sound, like a rusty steak knife cutting through a well-aged steak.
Now.
Here's Bill Simmons.
Welcome to the BS Report, an emotional day. My friend Adam Carolla in the video podcast studio, the BS Report headquarters.
Great to be here, Bill.
Now we can stare at each other. There's cameras taping us.
Yeah.
We can cut little clips out of it.
I miss your gardener with his leaf blower.
I know.
Can you get him through here?
Yeah, I thought about having him just kind of walk behind you, like blowing leaves on you. But
Yeah, because when I used to do the old podcast, I'd say, well, what time's good for you? And Bill would go, hold on a second. Jaime, what time you coming by with the leaf blower? And he'd be like, noon. And then Bill would go, how about noonish?
That's true. I can't deny it. We have a lot to catch up on. I haven't had you on the pod in a while, but we should mention you have your own podcast that you've been doing for three plus years now?
Yeah, at least, or coming up on 3. Yeah, AdamCarolla.com. New app out.
New app? You have a new app?
Well, we have a app.
You have an app?
We have an app, and we have a new website, and it's basically like this. If you like Bill Simmons, if you listen to Bill Simmons, if you laugh at Bill Simmons, you'll dig Adam Carolla.
Oh.
That's my thing.
All right, so it almost
I
like
think we have like the same core audience.
when you buy an Amazon.com book and it recommends other books.
Right.
If you like this, you may have liked.
You're right.
And that's interesting. Do you feel like there's getting to the point where there's too many podcasts now? I mean, I think we're okay because we were in early enough that kind of established foothold. But now it seems like everybody has a podcast. Like even Alec Baldwin has a podcast.
He's nuts, Baldwin. I mean, he called my podcast in the middle of the podcast the other night. We just tweeted out relationship questions, and I was talking to some guy from New Zealand.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, it was like, oh, Alec Baldwin's on the line, and he wanted to talk for 45 minutes. I think he just sits on the internet and looks for his name and then calls in places and freaks people out.
Or he writes like Huffington Post columns. Or it does seem like he has like more free time than he should. Considering he's like a star of a sitcom and has a bunch of stuff, he makes movies.
Yeah, he is one of these guys that he has like some sort of pack in his gullet that creates power, some sort of energy source that like captures sunlight and converts it into calories or something. Speaking of calories, he's lost like 30 pounds.
Really?
Well, that's what he told me. I told him he looked thinner. He said he lost 30 pounds.
He was getting a little hefty.
He was, and I told him I wanted him to keep going, grow a full beard, and run for president.
That would be interesting.
Picture like a super husky Alec Baldwin, like a 335-pound Alec Baldwin, like in an old-time, vest, pocket watch, full beard.
That was always your theory, that we should just hire somebody that looks like that as our president. And
I think
didn't
a lot
have to
of these
actually make
countries
decisions.
we're dealing with are stupid, and if they see a skinny guy, they think they can beat us.
Yeah.
They don't realize there's something called an army.
Right.
Behind the skinny guy who will beat you. They're not into that. So they see a guy with a weak, limp handshake or a skinny guy or a spindly guy. Right. And I always said we should take Baldwin and we should put him on the creatine and really just beef him up and have the full beard. And he would end every conversation with, I said good day. And he would leave. He would check his pocket watch. He would say he's growing weary of this conversation, and then he would say good day and storm out.
So they would just prep him for the meetings. Be like, look, this guy's going to say this, you're going to counter with this, and then at some point you're going to raise your voice.
And I would say, listen, we have to raise you like veal. We have to keep packing on the pounds.
Yeah.
So we can't have you exercise. But I will have a tennis ball in your right hand, and you'll constantly be squeezing it. So you have a monster grip, Steve Garvey-esque grip.
So one of those handshakes where you actually get mad at the other person because they shook your hand so hard.
Right.
It's like he was trying to hurt you.
So you picture Baldwin in a turn-of-the-century, vest, pinstripe suit with the pocket watch and the full beard with some gray around the temples, 325 pounds, and he's meeting the leader of North Korea, and he shakes his hand and almost crushes it.
And the guy's just intimidated.
Right. It just scares the crap out of everyone in the world.
Wouldn't this be like kind of a sequel to Dave or something where, and maybe almost like where Alec Baldwin plays himself?
Yeah.
And it's somebody like some political party decides,
we're
going to have you run as president. We'll tell you what to say. There's going to be somebody pulling the strings.
Right.
And you're just going to be Alec Baldwin and just be the man. And
yes.
I would watch that movie, I feel like.
I'd watch that too.
And then he realizes that, much like Dave 18 years ago, he realizes that he's kind of living a lie. And this wasn't what he wanted. He wants to make his own decisions. And then that person is pulling the strings like, no, I make the call. And they have that whole thing.
But yeah, he finds he reunites with his daughter. He finds his humanity.
You're right.
But here's the thing. Baldwin sadly has gone the other direction. He's lost a bunch of weight. And he just told me he stopped eating sugar. And that was it. But then I said, it's the worst thing ever because there's two things you can't do in show business. You can't get fat, and you can't get drunk. Like, you'll ruin your career if you get into booze or substances or whatever, or if you get fat, or sadly both, which happens simultaneously sometimes. And everything in show business is nothing but biscuits and cookies and M&Ms, and every gift basket is either cookies or booze, or both. It's a weird message. Like, isn't that kind of a weird message to send? Like, if you go onto the set of 30 Rock, there will be craft service. And craft service will just have piles and piles and piles of M&Ms and piles of, deep fried this. And there'll be a chick who walks around with a tray with smoothies on it and, little things of macaroni and cheese that have been baked twice with breadcrumbs on it. And it's like they're trying to fatten you up like you're a turkey and Thanksgiving is coming up. But on the other hand, it'll ruin your career if you get fat. So when you go on a set, you have to just sit there and stare at all this great food constantly, and you just have to go like, not going to eat it. But you can't help it. There's someone following you around, like trying to stuff food down your throat.
Would you say that it's almost like they're trapped in the 1970s, these craft service tables? A little like, when was the last time you went to a tuxedo shop?
High school. I think my prom.
Oh, it's been that long?
Yeah, I think so.
Weren't you in you were in Mike August's wedding?
Yeah, but he provided the tie, and I brought the suit.
I went to a tuxedo shop. We got 30 for 30 got nominated for an Emmy, and the Emmys was last month, and we went, or 2 months ago, and we went. I had to rent a tux, and I hadn't rented a tux forever. And I looked around, finally found this place on like the corner of La Brea and Wilshire. And I go in. It was one of those things where you go in, and it's like in Field of Dreams when Kevin Costner takes a walk in Burt Lancaster's hometown, and it suddenly turns into 1973.
Yeah,
that's a tuxedo shop. It's like the same pictures.
Yeah,
it's the same tuxes.
Same guy.
Smells the same guy. They're always like 80.
Yeah.
They always have like a slight accent.
And the pictures are all sort of 1985.
Right.
Sort of, you could almost hear Duran Duran when you look at them. And I have the same way with my barber.
Barber shops are another one. They've never changed.
They just have pictures of models from the 80s.
Yeah. It's like the Playboy with Jane Kennedy.
Yeah.
Oh, hey, Jane Kennedy.
Yeah.
But there's certain things that are just in a time warp, and I think craft service tables are one of those time warp things where nobody's ever said, hey, what if we had wraps instead of sandwiches?
Yeah. No,
sandwiches, the bread's easier.
They're just trying to fatten up everybody, including the crew, or maybe they're trying to kill the crew, but if you are there and you have nothing to do, like you just lots of times in between takes and shoots and stuff like that, you just pace around and all you want to do is eat.
Right.
So anyway, somehow Baldwin has figured out a way to steer clear of the sugar, and that's it. And everyone writes a diet book.
Well, you lost, how much weight did you lose when you did Dancing with the Stars? You lost like 20 pounds, right?
No, probably only 10 or 15 or something. Yeah, maybe 10, 15 pounds.
You got skinny when you did the Hammer, too.
Well,
I remember you passing up like pizza and stuff and being like disappointed in you.
Sucks.
Yeah.
Dieting sucks. You know, it's just a weird thing where it's like, I have no training for it because I grew up hungry. Like literally hungry. Not like hungry for
literally
success,
hungry.
like just hungry. And then I used to be a carpenter and a boxing coach. So it's like I couldn't put on a pound if I tried because all I did all day was like swing a hammer and then teach boxing, and I could eat whatever I wanted. And then I got into radio, and all of a sudden me and Kimmel were going out for brunch every day at Mexican places, and all of a sudden just packed on 20 pounds.
You know what's terrible for food was the Kimmel.
Yeah.
Working on that show, because we used to have these big lunches, and they're always catered by like Bay City Subs or pizza places.
Yeah.
And we would all eat and we'd stuff our faces, and then we would go to write jokes.
Yeah.
And I would be exhausted. I'd be like ready to take a nap. It would be Thanksgiving. You just want to like sit in a chair. And
your proclamation that Chinese food is not funny and it makes you tired.
Right.
You got Chinese food successfully removed from the menu of Kimmel's.
Oh, remember that? Yeah, that was a big coup d'etat.
Still removed to this day. Your legacy lives on.
I had a whole thing. I was like, every time we have Chinese food, we all just were in a coma for 2 hours after. We're supposed to be like writing jokes.
Right.
Even you couldn't write jokes. You were like
that.
a joke.
I still never forgave you for removing Chinese food. Like, I remember it was like, Bill was like, hey, Jimmy, Chinese food makes you tired. We got pulled off the menu. And Jimmy was like, he's right. And then I was like, what happened to the Chinese food? And now Chinese food was gone, and it's still gone. You should go back and reinstitute Chinese food.
I should.
It's been long enough.
I should go back and say, look, once a month we should do that. Yeah, it was weird, because Kimmel would either go, he would have to disagree with you no matter what it was. Mm-hmm. Be like, President Obama is biracial. No, he's not. Like, he would just, even if the facts were against him, he would stick to it.
Oh, I've had some classics with him.
But sometimes he would just back you. And the Chinese food thing, he just took it and ran with it.
I know. Everyone else was pissed because we wanted Chinese food.
I started eating healthy about 2 months ago because my wife, who, you know, I'm a terrible husband, as you are. I think very rarely do we take. Well, very rarely. We're not exactly the take one for the team's husbands.
Well,
I think we're difficult marriages.
We're terrible by American standards. Internationally,
True.
we fall somewhere around the middle of the pack.
You and I both had the same.
If it was international.
True. If we were in France or something, I think we'd be good husbands.
Yeah, or you know,
Germany.
There's Guatemala. I mean, there's Middle East. I mean, there's lots of parts. You know.
Good point.
Yeah.
Good point. Mm-hmm. But I think both of us use the same defense of, look, you knew how I was when you decided to get married to me.
Right.
This shouldn't be a shock that I can be selfish from time to time, or that I'm going to want to watch football for 10 hours.
Right.
And they don't really have a defense for that.
Yeah.
Because it's like, I guess the defense would be, well, I thought you'd eventually change. You'd be like, but
it's like
I told you.
When you buy a car and it says as is, no warranty.
Right.
You just got to know. That's like my wife does a lot of that too, like where my kids are talking and she goes, I know you're tuned out right now. And I go, yeah, thanks for telling them, sweetheart. They're 5. They didn't know I was tuned out. Yes, of course I'm tuned out. They're 5. You know, they're sitting there talking to me about, you know, and then Anakin Skywalker said, and they're talking to me about kids they go to school with whose names I don't recognize.
Yeah, you just have
to
nod.
And then Tim said to me, and then I got a Lego. Yeah, of course I'm tuned out. We're talking about nothing.
I'm just nodding and smiling.
You just let them know I was tuned out. By the way, I need my brain freed up to think of ways to make money, sweetheart.
Yeah.
So you should hope that I'm tuned out during 90% of these conversations.
It's a good comeback.
Right.
So occasionally I take one for the team, and right around Labor Day, she wanted to do this like cleanse thing where you just drink these drinks for 5 days.
I know.
So for 5 days we had to drink these disgusting drinks. And I never want to do stuff like that because I'm always afraid it's going to like mess with, like, won't be able to write. So the one thing I was like, I'm not giving up coffee. Like, all right. They tell this company to F off. Like, there's no scenario where I give up coffee. It's the highlight of my day every morning, the big coffee I have.
Not worth getting up.
I will never give that up. I'd rather just be fat and die. So we do these drinks. First day, it really was like doing heroin. Like, it just... my brain is just scrambled. Second day, just have a pounding headache the whole day. And I'm like, this is terrible. Like, you know, I had a football column due on Friday. I couldn't even type.
Is this like the honey and the cayenne pepper
No, it was like,
stuff?
it was just drinks. It was like, you know, cucumber beet drink. And It just, vegetable drinks, basically, and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
By Wednesday, all of a sudden I felt good. And then by Thursday, I felt really good. And my brain felt clear. I was, like, sleeping better. And then I was like, I kind of, like, took a look at everything I was eating. And it was like, I have a giant coffee. I usually have, like, 2 Cokes. I eat a lot of bread. I love potato chips. I love pretzels. Sandwiches, you know, heavy lunch.
All the stuff.
Candy.
All the good stuff.
No problem eating at 10 o'clock. Why not?
Yeah.
And I was just like, all right, I'll just stop for a week. And then once you get used to it and your brain kind of feels like it has no options.
Yeah.
Like, lunch is going to suck today. I'm having a salad.
Yeah, well, all right. But
once you pass that point, you're there.
All right. I'm fine with that. But don't start in with, like, the mini triathlons and stuff like that.
No.
That's where I got to draw the line.
Never.
And by the way, the whole point about a triathlon is the maxi part of a triathlon. Like when people, my assistant said, I'm doing a mini triathlon. And it's like, well, how does that work? I go, well, you swim like a half mile and then you ride like 7 miles and then you jog like 400 feet. And it's like, all right, well, so what? At that point, you know what I mean?
Jog 400 feet.
Well, I mean, either do iron. Here's what I'm saying is like it started as 10K, and then it went to a 10K run walk, and then it went to a 10K run walk ride, and then it went to a 5K, and then a 5K walk ride, and eventually you just pretty much go to your mailbox and back and raise money for testicular cancer. And so what? You know, I mean, at a certain point. The whole point of a marathon is a marathon. If you're running a half marathon or a mini marathon, you ain't running a marathon.
No. And also, I'm fine with shutting off the traffic and making it impossible to get around whatever city you're living in because you're having like a real marathon. Or like, oh, it's this year's LA marathon.
Right.
That's fine.
Right.
If you're making it so that it took an extra hour to get to my house because you were having a half triathlon, that's when I just want to drive through the yellow things and just start running people over.
And also this thing where it's like you have to prove something to yourself.
Yeah.
And here's how you prove something to yourself. Go back to your crappy apartment and see how many push-ups you can do in your living room. Don't tell me about it. You're proving it to yourself.
Yeah, congratulations. Keep it up.
And if you cannot cover this distance in less than a respectable time, you're out. Like this thing where it's like,
it takes 5 hours to run the marathon?
Yeah. Oh, it takes 11 hours. I mean, they keep the city closed down for the whole day.
That'd be interesting. So 5 hour mark, you just have to stop. That's it. You're done.
Well, because who cares? I mean, you will walk 26 point whatever miles over the course of what? 3 months?
Yeah.
So you've covered a marathon? You didn't do a marathon.
That was one of the...
There's a time. There has to be a time.
That was one of the highlights of the best things I ever did as a friend was my buddy Blue Boy was running the marathon once in Boston. My dad's house was like on the 19th or 20th mile or something, and people would always gather and watch it. So when they were running by, we had all this food, and we were like, what are you guys doing? Come eat with us. He's like, yeah, good call, and just stopped. And that was it. It was chicken beer and sandwiches.
Came in
like a minute later. There's also a picture of my wife ran it once. There's a picture of me greeting her as she stopped, and I'm eating a roast beef sandwich. She's like covered in sweat and probably... Yeah. Also, like, if you're doing something athletically that involves where people crap on themselves to finish, might need to reevaluate that whole thing a tiny bit. Just a little bit. There's the whole
thing about marathoners, too. The chicks never look any better than any other chick. As a matter of fact, they look sort of haggard normally, like they're all emaciated and they just look like they're falling apart. And it can't be good. It's never a good thing. Like,
you mean like the champion marathoners?
The people that are addicted to running.
Yeah.
And somehow these people are insane. You know, the people that go like, I do 11 miles every day.
I get up at 5.
I do 11 miles. And we always tip our cap to them as a society, like, wow, that guy's a better man than I. That guy's nuts and unemployable. And his arches are falling, and he's had a hip replacement. It's not good for your body.
Also, Jim Fixx died of a heart attack, which everybody overlooks.
Right.
It's like running's healthy. But Jim Fixx died.
They do this thing. By the way, he wrote a book about running.
Yeah, he became Mr. Marathon because he wrote one book.
What else to do? Here's how you tie your shoes and I'll get going?
I would argue that Rocky Balboa did more for running than Jim Fixx.
Certainly upstairs.
The training scenes in Rocky 1 in 1976, I felt like that started the whole running thing more than anybody. Everybody's, Rocky ran, I'm going to start running.
Right. Yeah. And always looking, waiting, because every time I break into a jog, I'm always like, where are the kids? Where are the neighborhood kids? How come none of them are gathering behind me and cheering me on? It's always a disappointment.
Rocky started... you look back at Rocky now, he predicted Mike Tyson with Clubber Lang.
Mm-hmm.
He started the running craze. He ended the Cold War.
Uh-huh. Mm-hmm.
What else did he do?
He pretty much pioneered the get to the top of the staircase and shadow box thing, which everyone does now. I just get, every time I get home, I only have 4 stairs between where I park my car, but I still get to my entry hall, and it's like I'm throwing punches in the air.
I also think he started the sports movie montage, because Rocky 3 was basically a montage in the beginning of all the fights, and that had never happened in a sports movie.
Right.
The Eye of the Tiger thing.
We
talk about Rocky out there.
I like a movie where they get so deep into the series that the first half of the movie is the last half of the movie that came before it.
Oh, yeah.
That's got to be a producer's dream. Yeah. Like, hey, I got good news on the budget. What? We don't have to make the first 40 minutes of the movie. It'll be the last 40 minutes of the last movie. Wow, that is a money saver.
I railed on this for years, and finally somebody listened to me. When they do those movie marathons, and they would show Rocky 1, and it would immediately lead into Rocky 2. But then Rocky 2 is the beginning of Rocky 1.
Right.
And they would just show that again. So if you watch the marathon, I was like, can we cut? Yeah, cut the end.
You're correct.
Thank you.
Under white guy problems, rich white guy problems, with nothing else to complain about or do, I had a conversation with a serious conversation with a dad, trick-or-treating the other night, another rich white guy from the neighborhood, where he's like, my kids are about ready to start watching the Star Wars series. But there's a big debate at the house of whether to start chronologically with the first Star Wars, or should we go with order with the prequel and show, because we don't want to scar the kids. And I
had the ultimate rich white guy. What do you call it? What's it called?
I don't know.
White guy problems?
It's just rich white guy problems. Yeah.
I think you could just call it white guy problems.
It is. Yeah. White guy
problems. I was redoing those TVs in the little office, because it's been 3 years. I think you get it every 3 years. Technology's too good now.
Right.
And I had this 65-inch TV that I got from Panasonic, and guys put it up, they soup everything up, TV's defective.
Right.
So now I have to spend like an hour and 20 minutes on the phone with people, getting another part and all that. Like that, there's no more white guy problem than that. Like, it's genuinely upsetting. It's like, I was so excited these were going up today.
Yeah.
And then you think of it in the big scheme of things, it's like, I'm an a-hole.
Well, and also, you have to watch your 4 42-inch TVs and have to get by with your 4 42-inch TVs.
Put the 42-inch in there. I'll suffer through it.
I know, but you get used to it, and then that's it.
Do your thing about how there's never been a better time to be poor.
Well, I mean, first off, when we were poor, you knew who was poor.
Yeah.
Like, Leonardo DiCaprio drives a Prius, and so does a receptionist now.
Good point.
You know what I mean? Like, there used to be, that guy's driving a Stutz Bearcat, and it's covered in gold plating.
Or he's got a driver or something.
Yeah. Mark Cuban he wears cargo shorts and a Mavericks t-shirt and flip-flops everywhere. You can dress like Mark Cuban. This whole thing, I mean, you take something like a Ford Focus, it's like $12,000 for that car.
Yeah.
Or a Mini Cooper, it's like $15,000 for that car. There's a whole bunch of cars. I had this Nissan Versa where I was looking at there's like $13,000. There's a whole bunch of cars that are like $13,000 that have nav and Bluetooth and interlink systems and iPod docks and all this kind of stuff. They get 40 miles to the gallon, 100,000-mile warranties, freezing cold air blasting out with the air conditioning, Bose 8-speaker system in there. Like, everything works, number one. So you can drive a car that is better than driving your stepdad's 911 SC from 1977. Like, it's a ton more car than his Porsche was. Better performance, better handling, safer, better everything. Big warranty. Don't have to go get it tuned up all the time. You can watch your 42-inch plasma for $600 in high dev.
There's 32-inch at Best Buy. There are 32-inch HD plasmas for sale for like $300.
You can get your Blu-ray for $19.
Yeah,
like you can live in an apartment, have your flat screen TV with your Blu-ray and your little mini surround sound system.
You have a pretty nice cell phone.
You have good cell phone.
Nice laptop.
You have your tablet or whatever. I mean, your cell phone, whatever. You can be doing, like, I don't know what, here's the point. There used to be, hey, this guy's rich and that guy's poor, and thus his car's 10 times better, his clothing is 10 times better, his technology is 10 times better. Now, I say, I got my maid, every time I walk in the kitchen, she's on her cell phone. I want to slap it out of her hands. I'm like, hey.
You're on the clock.
You're on the clock, number one. By the way, do you ever get into this with the weird maid home invasion thing?
What's that?
I moved my maid.
You moved her where?
I moved her out of the kitchen.
Oh. Because she just was set up shop?
Well, there's this thing, and I never was used to this. So I grew up poor, and the only one in the house was like either my mom or my dad, and then they got divorced, and there's no one around. And it was just, you'd wander around and just kind of fend for yourself.
Yeah.
And now
tons of masturbating.
I come down this, that came later, but
sorry.
But it's never stopped. But I would come down I'll come down the stairs in my bathrobe, and speaking of masturbating, with a little something left over from the sleep, a little tumescent from whatever I was dreaming about.
Of course.
Yeah, and I come walking down the stairs, and there's a Guatemalan chick that's standing in my kitchen on her cell phone, and you don't realize between the guy who's setting up your computer, you got your computer guy, you got your nanny, you got your maid, you got your, rich white guy problems. But what I'm saying is there's a bunch of strangers walking around my house all day, and it's weird because I don't know them, and I don't know what to, I know you have to be cordial and you have to say hi and stuff, but I told my wife the other day, get her started somewhere else. I don't want her in the kitchen. She's like, she literally surrounded the coffee pot with glasses the other day. She was like unloading the dishwasher and she was protecting the coffee pot like a goalie. And I'm like, you do that thing where you come in and you got your bathrobe on. When you're, in the morning when you're just in no mood.
I'm not friendly in the morning.
I'm not friendly in the morning either. And you come in and she's on the cell phone and it's a telenovela and she's arguing in Spanish with somebody and she's like blocking the thing and you're like, why is this the first thing I'm seeing in the morning? And my wife's like, well, that's where she starts. I'm like, well, have her start in the living room.
Start in the guest room.
Start in the guest room. And then we won't have to deal with and then the other day I'm sitting in my office and I'm on the computer and she's running the vacuum cleaner by my feet. And again, I do that rich white guy problem thing where I have to lift my feet up, but I'm pissed about it. Like, man, can't you vacuum some other time? But there are people all over my house now. And I don't know what to do.
Rich white guy problems.
Rich white guy problems.
That's tough. I'm feeling for you.
You feel?
Well, they can't guard the coffee pot like a hockey goalie. Like,
it's
that's
just
something
a
you
weird.
just gotta settle.
She always starts in the kitchen, and then she goes from the kitchen to my bathroom. And then when I come around to the bathroom, she's in there and's got everything all whacked out. And I don't know
Back
what
to
do.
the inability to differentiate rich people and poor people. I think the rich people have taken it a step further. I wrote about this like a year ago. The people that just wear pajamas in public.
Yeah. Well, now
they're just making a statement. Like, I didn't even need to put on clothes. I'm so rich. I just put these on and here I am.
There's nothing. It also used to be like, that guy's rich. He drives a BMW. Remember, like, that guy's a BMW?
The Rolls was always a big one.
Yeah, but it still is. Mercedes and BMW used to mean something. Now it's just everyone makes something.
We should talk about what's happening with these luxury cars, because you're a big car guy.
Sure,
like now these companies are doing, they're making these cars, and it's basically like there's 10 of them, and they cost $3 million a piece. they're going to get that money too. Like,
No,
I wonder,
I know.
like, is that where luxury cars are going to go? Where people are just producing these tiny cars?
It's usually the exotic performance cars, because they have supercars and now they have hypercars, and they make 8 examples and of the Zonda, whatever, and they're all and then it's always that thing where someone goes, who would pay $2 million for a car? And
Floyd Mayweather.
They're pre-sold.
Yeah, they're gone. There's no chance.
That Vegas Rolls dealership, when they see Floyd Mayweather pulling up, they got to be, this is so awesome.
And there's nowhere. It's funny because you always talk about how vintage cars are actually good investments because they don't go down.
Right.
There's no worse investment than a new car.
No,
the minute you buy it, it costs half as much as it did when you bought it.
It's insane. I mean, Rolls Royces, even Ferraris, Aston Martin, whatever. You can buy a used version of a $250,000 car with almost no miles on it that's like 3 years old for like $80,000.
Right.
And so why? And sometimes they don't even change the body style. So why not just buy a used Rolls Royce that's 3 years old with 8,000 miles on it that some podiatrist owned in Palm Springs? What's the difference?
This is why we're having the NBA lockout. Mm-hmm. Because these guys all paid sticker price. This last generation of owners, like the last since maybe 1999 and on, they paid full sticker price for their teams. Mm-hmm. Whereas like back in the day, it was owned by these guys, like these mom and pop guys, and these people who bought in the league before it took off. Now these guys paid $450 million or whatever for their teams.
Right.
That was the sticker price, but the team wasn't actually worth that. That's just what they wanted to pay to own the team.
Even the Dodgers sold for like $400-something million, like in like 2003. I don't know when the McCourts.
The guy, he's going to make money.
Thing.
He's going to make money
for $1 billion now. And here's all I want from the new owner. I don't really care about the uniforms or the team or even safety.
Well, you can't touch the uniforms.
I'm not interested in any of that stuff. But I don't care about heightened security or Giants fans. I'm not interested in changing anything. They're doing a fine job. They got more security, all that good stuff. Someone needs to dump the Dodger dog. It is the worst. It's not the worst hot dog. And this should be a topic for one of your reports, which is worst dog in which park. And I would claim that the Dodger dog is by far the worst dog in any park. And if you tried to pass that off in Chicago, they'd freeze it and with it. It would never do. The Chicago dogs are so good. It's first off, there's no casing on the Dodger dog. It's just a weird meat scroll.
Are we sure it's meat?
I don't even know that it's meat. I'm being generous when I say it's a scroll of meat. It's like someone just took some meat product and rolled it into a giant doobie. It hangs this far. By the way, here's how you know it's a horrible dog. They give you an extra 9 inches hanging out of each side of the bun. They don't give away good meat.
No.
So why is it hanging? And then the meat to bun ratio is completely screwed up, because if there's 4 inches hanging on each side of the bun, unless you're a porn star, you can't get any bun in the first 2 or 3 bites.
Yeah, and you got to put the mustard on the bun, on the dog, but there's no bun.
But there's no bun to even it out. I tried to train myself in the bathtub by being able to, and it doesn't work.
You know what's sad is that I've always enjoyed the Dodger dog, but I think it's because I would literally eat any ballpark hot dog and think it was good.
They are coasting on the ballpark part of it.
They totally are.
It's sort of like prison food. Like, what are you going to do? Starve? You got to do it.
Or like high school lunch or something.
Yeah. What are you going to do? It's even those carnation malted things with the wooden spoon. You wouldn't buy one of those outside of a stadium. You'd get a shake or a sundae.
I have 2 thoughts on this. One is that the Fenway Frank, which has always been one of the funniest names ever. We have the Fenway Frank and Pesky's Pole at Fenway Park.
Really?
Two of the
I was always a fan of the Ramrod.
Pesky's Pole or Fenway Frank, but Fenway Frank was always really good, and the hot dog fits the bun perfectly, and it almost like kind of melds into the bread. It's delicious.
L.A. And there's going to be a lot of people who hear this and go, oh, you should try the dogs over and fill in the blank. They're nowhere as bad as the Dodger dog. The Dodger dog doesn't have a casing on it, so you don't get that snap and then the juice when you bite into it. It's just weird. It's a weird
and it's steamed hot.
It's just bad. It's a horrible dog. So whoever takes over the Dodgers, get rid of the Dodger dog.
The best thing I've ever
Farmer
eaten,
John.
the best old school thing I've ever eaten in a stadium is in Fenway in right field. Past there, they have an Italian sausage, onion, pepper place.
Oh.
And it's so good. And it's one of those places you can smell it as you're walking toward it, and your glands just start salivating.
Yeah.
But it's interesting. I remember I went to Pac Bell in 2000. And this is when we were just, it was like back to the prison food mentality with ballpark food, where you just think, you don't even think about it. It's just the way it is. And Pac Bell, they would have these like, oh, there's a Mexican stand with little Mexican bowls, and there's like a real pizza place with real slices, and here are like sausages and all these different things. And then like you go to the Milwaukee's new stadium, it's the same thing. Like there's real food. Yeah. And then it makes you angry when you're at the Staples Center, which our friends at AEG, you know, they've spent a lot of money like getting LA Live going, and 2 NBA teams, an NHL team. They're trying to bring a football team here. And you go try to eat at the Staples, and it's like there's one section where they have like a place that makes real sandwiches. Right. Other than that, it's a catastrophe. And the people are the slowest people you could ever put. Oh, I know. They just they're on. It's 4 minutes per customer. Yeah. And it's like, isn't your goal to make money? Why wouldn't you want people that work behind the counter there just cranking it out? I don't understand that. And first off, you always, you have a captive audience. Yeah. So it's prison, basically. There's nothing you can do about it. And the food is bad at the stadium. I remember a few years ago when here's how you know it's horrible. You've paid $150 for a ticket. You're going out on a Saturday night, and all of a sudden you go, hey, there's a Taco Bell and a Pizza Hut here. And your buddies are like, your 45-year-old buddy's like, yeah. And it's like, how excited would you be about Pizza Hut on any given Saturday night with your other 40-something-year-old buddies? And the answer would be zero interested in the Pizza Hut, except for when you're trapped in a prison of horrible food, the Pizza Hut seems like an oasis in this desert of horrible food. At Staples, it's McDonald's. McDonald's is packed because people are like, well, I know what I'm getting from McDonald's. Yeah, so they trap you, and then they essentially, it's a when they basically sell you this horrible food that would not, you know what the equivalent of this is? It's Fiesta Mix on an airline. Like, you would never eat Fiesta Mix. It's a bunch of salty dust with some orange. If I gave it to you right now, you would have been offended. Give me some Funyuns or some Doritos or some Bugles or something. Give me some barbecued Lays. Like, you'd never touch Fiesta Mix on the ground, but at 30,000 feet with a couple of beers in you, you're like, I guess I can pick through this and see if there's a peanut. Well, do you think maybe there's some sort of economic reason why they do it this way? Like it's the cheapest possible food they could possibly put out. It is, but I was on a flight the other day, and they gave me something called Savory Mix. Right. No one knows what, by the way. They should be sued for using the word savory on this stale concoction of old pretzels and the sticks and the this and the that and the salt that's dusting. It's just one big pack of, it's just a bunch of sodium and carbohydrates and some orange dye number 11, and it's always stale. And the question is this, would this be consumed on the ground? If there was a vending machine and there's Doritos and Bugles and Lay's potato chips and Pringles potato chips and corn nuts, would anybody, and smoked almonds, would anybody buy Savory Mix or Fiesta Mix? And then somebody will always say, listen, it's a business. It's about units. And I always answer this. All right, Savory Mix cost the airline next to nothing. But what would Doritos cost them if they bought 2 million units a year? 18 cents a bag. And if you added to the price of my ticket 18 cents, I wouldn't notice it. Like if my flight to Miami was $732.72 instead of 51 cents, you think I'd be bitching about it? Like, hey, what the hell? What's this? Where did this come from? Where's this extra 18 cents coming from? And how am I going to make it up? 10 cents.
Right. So you could, for 10 cents, I'd get a sack of Doritos on that plane. Why not add it on? I can't figure it out.
Adam, when I run for the sports czar position in 2012, please, I'm going to revamp ballpark food.
Please, and let's get rid of the Dodger dog. It's horrible.
Or what about
the worst dog?
You know what else
on the
I'm getting
planet.
rid of when I'm sports czar? the chicken fingers that are just 100% bread, and it's like, there's a slight. I think I saw a slight piece of chicken. It's usually basically just eating fried bread.
Yeah, chicken's got to be laughing their ass off, looking at that like, none of me in there. Any of you in there? Not me. Look at that. It's a stick of deep fried bread
with fries. You get the chicken and fries, and there's no meat. It's just two fried things together.
Yeah, and they're like, how can we make this less healthy? Oh, let's get some ranch going. Yeah, they can dip what is supposed to be the chicken into that thing. Yeah.
Let's go back to the Dodgers for a second, though. Mm-hmm. You've been in California, in the LA area your whole life.
My whole life.
Have you ever seen the Dodgers hit rock bottom like this?
No. The Dodgers have always sort of been the Dodgers. Like, the Rams have had their ups and downs. The Lakers normally pretty solid. But they've had their ups and downs as well. But the Dodgers are always just kind of the Dodgers. You know, it's Vince Scully and it's the Dodgers, you know. And now this whole McCord thing is fun. But it's funny because I don't care. It
was weird. Like 5 weeks ago, I was at this restaurant in Beverly Hills called Mastro's. We had like an ESPN dinner. Mm-hmm. And it was the same time when the Yankees-Tigers game, whatever the final game was of that playoff series. Mm-hmm. And we were going back and forth from this dinner, and like people were sneaking out to see the score. And by the ninth inning, where it was like 6 of us just watching the last inning.
At the bar?
At the bar.
Right.
Also at the bar, sitting by himself, drinking a glass of wine, Frank McCourt.
Wow.
And nobody's talking to him, and everybody knows who he is, and it was really weird. And it made me think, like, this guy should want to hightail it out of L.A., right? Like, why would you want to live here at this point? Wouldn't you want to leave?
I don't know. That it's a weird thing. It's like Ben Roethlisberger driving around on a Kawasaki with no helmet through Pittsburgh. Like, are you interested in crazed people following you back to your house? Like, this is insane. Like, the whole thing about the celebrity motorcycle thing is Keanu Reeves rides a motorcycle, but he puts a full-face helmet on. And
you don't know it's him.
Him and Brad Pitt just quietly get along without anyone knowing who it is, because you can't tell Brad Pitt from any other 5'11 guys, 175 pounds, on a Kawasaki. But, like, the no-helmet thing, I saw Sharon Stone driving through Pasadena in an Aston Martin with the top down, a convertible.
She's an exhibitionist, that Sharon.
And she's just driving around. Probably no underpants, skirt up overhead. And first off, I remember thinking to myself, if I were Sharon Stone's husband, I'd be like, are you nuts? I don't need more crazy people out front of our house. You understand? Because I'm sitting next to her to signal, and I'm like, that's Sharon Stone. And then I thought, if I was a real weirdo, I would get her license plate, or I would just follow her back to her house. And look, what is she doing? And then you wonder, like, what is Ben doing? What is McCourt doing? What is going on? And I realized, I think they like it.
They like McCourt just has to feel the eyeballs.
And then who is this? But in general, whenever you go to a nice restaurant, and I'm gonna make a list of guys that I am secretly jealous of, although I have much disdain for as well. The guy at the nice upscale restaurant, I'm not talking about a trucker who's sitting at a diner at a counter, in Wichita, who's got a long haul. And you know, I'm talking about the guy who's sitting at an upscale, expensive restaurant, sitting at the bar alone, eating a $37 steak with a $14 glass of wine, just eating dinner. Just that alone dude at the bar.
You don't like that guy?
I love him and I hate him.
My thing is, you have to have a book or a magazine.
No. He's sitting alone. There's no game on.
Yeah.
He's kind of talking to the bartender. He clearly is of means. Like he's eating an expensive
He's trying to meet somebody. He doesn't know how to get on Match.com.
What's he doing? What's going on at that bar? Is he there every night? Who is this mystery man? I tell you what. I freaked out one time. We, after my radio show at about 11 in the morning, the greatest thing about doing morning radio is at 11 in the morning when you're done, you can go out to Laurie's and eat like prime rib. Because you've been up since 4 in the morning. It's like it's dinner time.
It feels like dinner.
Yeah, you can eat whatever you want at 11. and no one else is around.
Right.
The restaurants are empty. They're happy to see you. Before lunch, before dinner, after breakfast, we went in to that one of those Argentinian beef joints, where you hold you have the
oh yeah.
Yeah. You have the doily, red for more beef, or green for more beef, and red for. We got to get back there, by the way. But we went into one of these places.
I retired from that place.
It'll kill you, but it's great. And there were like 6 of us, and we all just went in just to suck it up with the pork chops and the beef and all that kind of stuff. We were the only ones in there because it's 11 o'clock. There's no one else is going to eat that. One dude comes in. One dude sits down alone. Flips the card up. Sits alone. I've never been to a weird all-you-can-eat beef place alone. I've never even been to a buffet alone. There's certain things that are weird. It's like going to see the Fast and the Furious alone. It's like there's certain things that are group activities.
Agree.
It'd be like you just renting yourself a bouncy castle and jumping up and down alone in your backyard. It is. I'm jealous of the guy. Like, my meal was ruined. Because I was like, we spent the entire time, like...
staring for trying to figure this guy out?
I came up with this elaborate scenario where he was a businessman, and he flew in from, like, Asia, and his clock was screwed up. So for him, it was like midnight.
Like 7:30 night.
Yeah, because who else would be insane enough to come in alone and eat 8 pounds of beef at 11 in the morning? It's just it's a weird. I'm confused by the lone eater guy. Not at the counter at the diner, but at the upscale.
Got to bring a magazine.
Yeah.
Back to Sharon Stone for 1 second. This is one of my favorite Carolla theories. The woman that at some point in your life, it would have just been the most far-fetched thing ever that you could have hooked up with her.
Yes.
And then at some point, they hit a certain age, and maybe you are successful in some way. Yes. And the lines start going, and you start getting closer and closer, and then there becomes that point where you pass each other.
Yeah.
Sharon Stone at age 53, you're almost there, I think. I think you're you're right there. I think she's here and you're there.
It's an X. Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't call you, but I just passed Linda Carter 4 days ago. Did you know that?
There should be a website where it just shows who passed.
Who did you pass?
Linda Carter.
Yeah, like growing up. Like who? I got the whole cast of Knots Landing. I passed them. Like I was almost 3 months now.
I was on a plane with Jacqueline Smith when she was like 60 at that point. And I felt like I was like in the vicinity.
Yeah. Well, it's tough because there's your Kathleen Turners of the world.
Well, yeah. Let's not talk about that.
Well, all I'm saying is theoretically, but what I'm saying is
too soon.
But I'm saying Jacqueline Smith has done a pretty good job of not letting you pass her.
Oh yeah, yes, she has. Farrah Fawcett, not as good of a job.
Yeah,
before she
before, but
yeah,
the
she
point
let herself go the last 10 years.
The point is yeah, I would love to see, and you got to make a case. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you got to go, you can't just go, I passed her. You got to go, here's how much money I make. Here's my station in life.
Here's my age.
Here's the car I drive. Yeah, we'd have to take a look at some tax returns and there'd have to be some judge that would go like, yeah. And he would factor in what happened to her, how time has been to her.
Like Charlene Tilton, you're looking way down at Charlene Tilton.
I passed Charlene Tilton when I think I'm still doing the Man Show.
You passed her.
I can't recall.
You passed her at Kevin and Bean.
Show. Yeah, second season of the Man Show.
Yeah.
No, and
Pamela Sue Martin maybe maybe that took until
Daisy Duke.
Daisy Duke.
Catherine Bach.
Not Heather Thomas though.
Not Heather. I haven't passed her yet, but I'm nipping at her heels. And then there's I don't know if you got my email, but I passed Pia Zadora.
Oh, congratulations!
Yeah. Thank you.
Excellent.
I felt pretty good about that.
Back to the Dodgers, though.
Oh, yeah.
Isn't it crazy that, like, right now we could go down to their box office and buy season tickets probably, like, 9 rows behind home plate?
Right. For $18.
Like, this was one of the storied baseball franchises and one of the storied sports franchises in general.
Yeah.
And has been, I don't know what the right word is, diminished, ruined, whatever, to the point that it's really a damaged brand. And I actually think this is the perfect time to buy the Dodgers. Look at all that land you get. You could do so much stuff with that land.
Chavez Ravine. I'll tell you who
think of it. You could put restaurants and bars, and you could do all underground parking or do some sort of giant parking structure.
We need, you know who needs to buy the team?
Well, we need a Mark Cuban, but I don't think he wants to. Who?
Jody Maroney.
Jody Maroney? I don't know who that is.
He makes the sausages.
Oh, I like where you're going.
Yeah. Get that stupid Farmer John out of there.
I like it.
And let's get someone who can make a dog in there. That's all I care about.
The Jody Maroney Stadium.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's a pretty good idea.
Awesome.
Have you tried to take your kids to a baseball game?
No, not yet.
Baseball hasn't really translated to the younger generation.
Good.
Listen, it's 3.5 hours, and they just don't have the time.
I took my kids, by the way, bought some good hot dogs, took my kids to the park, turned the corner with chili, and my kids, by the way, they like the chili fries.
That's important.
I know it's not part of the master cleanse.
It's important.
But the point is, wouldn't it be awesome, though, if your wife said, hey, man, we're on a liquid cleanse, and she just handed you a goblet of chili, and you're like, wow.
This is the best diet ever.
Out better than I thought.
The chili diet.
Yeah, so while you were cleansing yourself last weekend, I was eating chili fries and chili dogs and the Chicagoan dog at the park, and I was at the old park that my Pop Warner team used to practice at, and except for there was now 6 co-ed soccer games going on simultaneously, and I thought this is hallowed ground because this is where the East Valley Trojans football team used to practice, and now we got all these little munchkins running around kicking the ball. And then I ran into a friend of mine who I went to high school with, and her daughter was out there on the soccer team, and I was like, how's it going? And she's like, not so good this year. And I was like, well, why? And she said, they haven't scored a goal. And I was like, and how far into the season are we? And she's like, we're like halfway into the season. I was like, no goals? Halfway into the season? She's like, yeah. And I'm like, what are you doing? I mean, I can have my kid put on shiny shorts and run in a circle in the living room, right?
Yeah.
They just need to burn calories. They're not learning anything about life. I'm so tired of the youth soccer. I can't stand it. I always say this. I say, look, everyone's worried about their kid getting injured. Because I tell them, have your kid play Pop Warner football. I love dealing with a guy who played football because they're tough and they get it. And they're used to, by the way, blocking for other people.
You'd let your kid play Pop Warner football now?
Absolutely.
Really?
You know why? Because I say, like, a dislocated finger, that heals in 2 months, but being a is a lifetime sentence. And that's what we're creating. Just a bunch of weak, self-entitled wusses. Like, I don't need it. I'd rather them get a couple concussions. I mean, it's not like my kid's going to Harvard anyway. I'd rather them just have a tough spirit, you know? And that's what playing Pop Warner football does. The soccer's like the coach is walking around on the field. The referee was a 15-year-old chick. The kids are just running in circles. The ball just keeps going out of bounds. There's no equipment. There's no helmet. There's no pads. I mean, it's just...
Well, the problem with 6-year-old soccer is there's 2 types of kids. There's the type who actually likes sports and wants to get better at it and likes competing. And then there are the kids who are out there because their parents want them to play soccer and they have no interest in it at all.
Parents are screaming, like, get the ball, go Dakota, go! And it's like, who cares? It's boring. It's so boring. They don't learn anything.
Baseball is the one that I don't think anybody should play until they turn like 11.
Yeah, that one's
this
no
T-ball,
good
it's like, first of all, you're not exercising.
No, you're standing around.
You're standing in left field for a half hour while the pitcher is trying to throw, like 8-year-old baseball. Well, this is after T-ball. They have 8-year-old. There's somebody pitching.
Right.
And they don't have balls and strikes yet. It's just 20-minute at-bats. Like, how is this exercise?
I had this funny thing, and I realized, and it happened to me a million times, that you don't really realize, which is, at the pro level, when you're watching professional baseball and the ump's behind the plate and the guy throws the pitch and it's 3/8 of an inch outside the plate, the guy's like, ball, take your base.
Yeah.
I forgot, because I played Pee Wee baseball, Little League baseball, and I played high school baseball. And the umps get better as you get older.
Right.
But it's mainly just out of laziness. Like, I was just walking around. I was just walking through New York a couple of weeks ago, and I was just walking alone with my earbuds on. I was chugging around on a Saturday, and I happened upon a Little League baseball game right in the middle of the city. And I started watching, and I realized, like, the strike zone was 7 foot to,
it was erratic.
To one bounce,
yeah.
you know? And it's like, I could tell the ref wanted to get the ump wanted to get the hell out of there.
Just
and it's like,
keeping going.
You're sitting there, and there's like, it was 2 strikes and 2 balls, and it's like, the pitch comes in over the kid's head. It's like, victory, you're out of it. And I was like, what? Did he think that was it? And it was like, oh, good enough for the 9-year-old who was pitching, and this guy wanted to get home.
Well, here's a news flash, too, to the parents out there. If your kid is going to be good at baseball or football, they're going to be good regardless of whether they're playing at 8 or not.
Yeah, the T-ball
you could
doesn't
never
help anybody.
You could never touch a baseball glove or a bat until you're 16.
Yeah,
and be good at it right away if you're a good athlete.
Half the half the tight ends in the NFL now just played basketball in college. I mean, you hear about these guys, you know, Christian Okoye didn't know what a football was until his, 19th birthday, and then someone took him off the track and handed him this
I think
thing,
there's some sports you have to start playing early, like I think hockey.
Yeah, because you got to skate.
You got to just know everything by the time you're 6, or else it's not going to happen.
If you can't skate, you can't play. And
volleyball may be a little bit like that. There's just a rhythm to it that I think would be tough to pick up.
I still need to find the guy who makes indoor volleyball shoes and have him explain to me sufficiently why there needs to be a separate shoe for the exact same court that the basketball game was played on the night before. And why this isn't the biggest racket in the world.
I think it's a racket.
I'm going to blow the lid off this indoor volleyball.
You want to talk about
racket?
What about gymnastics?
Yeah.
Little kids gymnastics.
Yeah.
Anyone who's remotely a good athlete, my daughter was doing gymnastics once a week. My daughter's a good athlete.
Yeah.
And they were like, they took us aside, like, hey,
sure,
your daughter, she could be really good at this, if she comes 3 days a week and whatever, like, this could really go great for her to go to the next level. And I'm like, how much is that going to cost?
And what
like
is the
$400 a week or something?
But
it's what's the next level? Why would I want her to do this?
The next level's an eating disorder, body dysmorphic disorder,
torn knee ligaments. Like, that sounds great. Let me start having her do that more.
An A cup, no time for dating.
And also,
what the hell?
What do you want your kid to specialize in one sport when they're under 12? Don't you want your kids to just play stuff? They're kids.
Also, at what point in life does rhythmic gymnastics come in handy? It's not like, hey, I got this stick with this ribbon on it, and I can use it in a real-world application.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, at least if you're going to get your kid into something, get him into judo or mixed martial arts or something.
Everything.
Where in case some guy comes at him at the bar, he can throw down. Diving, tumbling, gymnastics. No. Anyway, forget about soccer. Pop Warner football. That's what the kids need to play. So they get injured. They heal. They're going to get injured anyway. Who cares whether it's falling on a tree or, busting a wedge on a kick return?
The other sport that if you get them in early, they just never lose it is golf.
Yeah.
You learn how to swing a golf club by the time you're 6. That just stays. That's in your DNA and in your head. Same with tennis. If you get in a forehand when you're 6, and your backhand, you're going to have the same thing when you're 20.
I'm going to tell, by the way, that is a good point, because there are guys that are good at golf, and no one should give a crap about golf. I mean,
there are people that usually started playing when they were 8, 9, 10.
But here's the thing about golf that's interesting, which is I'm good at softball, but it doesn't help me in my career. You know what I mean?
Well, celebrity softball games, I think it helps.
It doesn't move the needle.
It hasn't moved the needle that much for you?
Not as much as I did.
That 3 for 4 performance at Chavez.
I hit 2 dingers, and I got no love for it last time I did it. And the point is it's not moving the needle as much as I'd like. But the thing about golf, other sports at the sort of less than pro level don't really help you in the workplace.
Yeah.
But golf
helps you.
It's always one of those things where it's like, yeah, that guy's not very good and he's kind of a douchebag, but he's a scratch golfer. He's a really good golfer. Like, I have that all the time where it's like, that guy's a good golfer. And it's like, so what? He's my business manager.
It's like our agent, Baby Doll Dixon.
He's a good golfer. It's like, so what? He can use a stick and hit a ball on the weekend. What's that have to do with being a manager or an agent or an accountant or a publicist or something? I'm telling you, guys are like, you know what it's like? It's like having a big honker. Like, once the word gets out, like, guys have a weird kind of quiet respect for you. Like, let's not fire that guy.
I've been actually thinking about it. I retired from golf when I was 24 because I had a temper problem with on the golf course, so I had to quit. Sure. Now I'm calmer. I think I'd be fine. But I always kind of get jealous of this secret golf world. Like, you know, like our age of baby doll James Dixon, he will come to L.A. and he'll be like, oh, yeah, Riviera, I got to play Bel Air. Like, they know all these weird things that nobody else knows. And it's like,
get him talking about his golf clubs, because that's a good one. Like,
I got a graphite driver.
Just bragging about his golf clubs. But he's like, but it's funny. The thing that's funny, when I said to him, I said, oh, so, like, are you going to Maui? Are you going to golf there? Or when you come to L.A., you're going to golf? Or you go to Palm Springs, you're going to golf? And then I go, how's it work? So you have to ship your golf clubs to Florida? Baby, I got a set in every city. Like, it's like, and guys used to brag about keeping a woman in every city. Yeah. He brags about having golf clubs in every city. Yeah. Like, I have they're stashed in a hermetically sealed in a temperature controlled humidor in Maui, and then there's one in Palm Springs. He's got a set for Florida. He's got sets everywhere just waiting for him. So when he shows up, his golf clubs are waiting for him.
Unbelievable. It's a whole community of, you're either psychotic about it or you're like us, where you may play once a year.
Couldn't, I would try to describe it to Dr. Drew every once in a while, but you can't tell a guy with 3 kids who loves his family and has 9 jobs about spending 17 hours on a Sunday walking around a golf course. Like, he was like, when do they do this? I'm like, just do it on the weekend. Like, it takes so long. Like,
that's a good defense for our wives. We don't play golf. Expensive. Choose up the weekends. Gone for 6 hours on a Saturday or Sunday. I'm going to start using that. It could be worse. I play golf. I don't play golf.
I have found that the bad things that I don't do pale in comparison to the good things that I don't do. You know what I mean? Like, I've tried that. You see, at least, hey, I could be so-and-so's husband. That guy, because I like it, like when it turns out one of her friends' husbands was cheating or not paying support or doing or whatever. I always go, I'm looking
a little better.
I'm not that. Yeah, it's kind of like I'm a C- student, but I have an older brother who's in juvie. And so I can go, He gets report cards from the warden. He goes, no, you understand? So my C- not so bad in comparison. But we
never talked about the LA football stadium. I feel like you have to pick sides here. Would you rather it be downtown LA or in the city of industry?
Downtown. Yeah. I don't know where they're going to tear down the convention center.
Yeah.
And
they have it all planned out.
They just built that convention center not that long ago.
Yeah,
or they
like
just
20
added
years
on
old.
to it.
Yeah. Well, the stadium would be the convention center.
You know what I like about the convention center?
What?
Sometimes when you're driving out of town and you get to, like, you're going to the city of industry, you will pass big signs about what's going. Like, you think the convention center has, like, the car show and the music show, but you'll see, like, Hemp Fest 2012 or the Eroticon, whatever, and you're like, well, couldn't I get a vibrator mail order? Like, what do I need to surround myself with like-minded weirdos
all
for?
Those the con movement is in. Comic-Con started all these conventions now.
Okay, so I like smoking weed, or I'm really into Jenna Jameson. That's fine. Do I need to hang out with a bunch of dudes who like Jenna Jameson? I thought the whole point was this was kind of a solo
Maybe
gig,
you and I should start PodCon.
It would make more...
So you have a podcast too? Yeah. Great.
It would make more sense than... You mean you chronically masturbate as well? Yeah. Well, same here. Well, up top, my brother. Like, I thought that was the kind of stuff...
Early 80s stuff or current?
I'm retro. I'm old
retro?
School.
Oh.
Yeah, I got a throwback towel. Like, it's weird. And then, like, again, like, I thought the whole point, like, if you're going to get a marital aid or a French tickler or something, I thought the whole point is you kind of put on some sunglasses and went into a sex shop store and looked over your shoulders and see if anyone went to high school with, and then you quietly bought it and brought it home.
Those stores don't exist anymore, right?
I think they're still around.
Really?
Yeah.
Do candy stores still exist?
Oh, yeah.
Like those old 70s candy store that have a ton of candy? Like, why would anyone go into those?
You know where you find those? At the airport.
Record albums?
The airport is filled with stuff.
Airport doesn't count, though.
Oh, okay. Well, then, no.
Like
the thing that was always funny about the sex shop ones is the guy always stood on like a 3-foot riser. So it was like you're talking to the Wizard of Oz, except for the guy had a double chin and you were talking about vibrators, but he would be like, is the Ron Jeremy one take C batteries or D batteries? And the guy he's standing up. I don't know why the guy had to be 4 foot higher than everyone else down there. I guess it was to keep an eye on everyone in the back or something. Yeah. It was always a weird thing.
I remember in the DMV in Boston, right next to the DMV was this big sex shop.
No windows, but you know the DMV, the way it's a little more efficient now, but in the 90s and early 2000s, not as efficient. Sure.
And you'd be there and it'd be like, you take this card and it'd be like, it'll be about 2 hours. So your choices were,
what are you gonna do?
Do I sit in this lobby? There's no Blackberries yet, nothing like that. There's just basically do I sit in here? Or do I go in this really weird dark sex shop next door? And obviously you go in the sex shop.
Well, even if it was a pet store.
Right. Whatever the store is, you're going in. It's a mall, whatever.
I had...
the most brilliant placement of a sex shop, I think, ever.
One of the most traumatic experiences of my life.
You've had some traumatic ones, too.
Yeah, this is really...
You're friends with Ray Oldhouse.
This is way more traumatic than that. There was a place, maybe it's still there. It was like on Western off of Santa Monica, not a great part of town. And it was just like, sex barn, like it had everything. Like it was like mega store. And I was living with my girlfriend in Hollywood in like a little 1-bedroom apartment or something. And, this no internet, no nothing back then. This is back in the old school VCR days. And for some reason, I got off of work like 3 hours early, and I remember just thinking, I'm going to go grab a tape from one of these, this place. And it was like 2 p.m, and I walked in, and when I walked in the middle of an argument of a guy who was trying to return like a or something, and the guy was arguing with him, and he's like, sir, once it leaves the store, you can understand, right?
Once it leaves the store.
I'd be like trying to return a burrito after 2 days. Or
all sales
like,
are final.
Final.
Literally final.
That's literally why we power them up before they leave the store, because there ain't no warranty on a And the guy was like arguing, and I was like trying to steer clear, and I made my way over to like the bargain bin, was looking through some stuff, and I got a movie, and the door was right on Western, and there's no windows or anything. It's just a door, and then there's sidewalks about 5 foot wide, and then there was super busy Western Boulevard.
Oh no!
And also the place is pitch black inside. It's like you barely read the title of the movie you're buying, Yeah. And then when you walk out, it's like Southern California, August, 2 p.m, and I opened the door with my movie, and there was a school bus that was parked right against the curb, and because the place had like purple neon, and, flashing and all that, and every single one of those fourth graders had their nose pressed against the window, like was doing that, and it was stopped, just lined up perfectly with the door, and they were just the signal, the cars had backed up and stuff, instead of just waiting there in the right turn, and I just opened the door, and every single kid in that bus, I mean, they were from the other side of the bus, had gone to this side of the bus. It was like, and they just like, and I was just greeted by a wall of 9-year-olds. And I just remember thinking, my God, you've bottomed out, H-Man. And they were like laughing and pointing and screwing at me and stuff. It was a simpler time, but it was very traumatic. But thank God I was just a carpenter.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
All right, do your fake movie.
Yeah. Oh, first I have to say my Julianne Hough Seacrest joke.
Oh, yeah. Say it.
Because everyone says to me, because she was my Dance with the Stars partner.
Right.
And she says, and people would come up to me and they go, do you realize Julianne Hough is dating Ryan Seacrest? And I'd go, I didn't know Ryan Seacrest. Oh, wait, I screwed the joke up.
All right, sorry again.
We'll clean it up.
People go up to you and...
We'll clean it up in post. Okay. So they go, do you know Julianne Hough? is dating Ryan Seacrest, and I'd go, Julian Huff's a lesbian? That was always my joke. Anyway.
Fake movie.
Just one of the gays. All right, now here's the deal. Born from the truth. Torn from the headlines. There's an all-gay, or they're talking about making an all-gay school in Chicago because the gay kids were getting bullied. And instead of being bullied in your tough public school, if you made an all-gay school, you couldn't get bullied. So an all-gay school in Chicago because of the bullying problem, but obviously it's one of the best schools.
Is this a real story?
I remember hearing about this in the news a few years ago. They were talking about it. I don't know if they did it or not. But the point is the all-gay school, it'd have a better arts program, better lunches, better curriculum. Like, it'd be a better school. Let's be honest. So Shia LaBeouf, getting a little long in the tooth, but Shia LaBeouf.
I like how you always work Shia into this.
I got to work Shia. He's a troubled kid, and he's from the wrong side of the tracks.
Role for her, yeah.
And his mom realizes the only shot this kid's got at a good education, because he's getting in fights in his tough South Side Chicago school, is to enroll in the all-gay school. But of course, he has to pretend he's gay. So his mom's like, you're now, and she does a whole makeover on him, and he's dapper now. And he's going in it. He can't stand it because he's a tough, streetwise hoodlum who has to gay it up all the time.
So it's a little like in School Ties when Brendan Fraser had to pretend that he wasn't, that he was Catholic, basically. He hid the Star of David, all that stuff.
Almost exactly like that, but with gay. So that's LaBeouf pretending he's gay. Now, Dakota Fanning.
Again, why don't you use her sister, Elle Fanning, for this?
Elle?
Yeah, you can use
Elle
you can pass the torch to Elle Fanning.
Elle Fanning, who also comes from the wrong side of the tracks, and single mom also wants her to get a good education, too, says, you got to gay it up. It's an all-boys gay school. You got to pretend you're a gay boy, a la Hillary Swank.
So this is like a little bit like Just One of the Guys with Joyce Heiser in the 80s, only she's pretending she's a gay male high school student.
I don't make new movies. I do what P. Diddy does with songs. I take three old songs and just put them together. Yeah. So we do that. Now you got Shia LaBeouf. He's not gay. He don't like the gays. He's a tough kid from the streets.
Right. And he needs to learn a lesson.
Yeah, he's going to learn a lesson. And you got Elle Fanning. And they, of course, they're sitting next to each other, and neither one of them really wants to be there. But they realize you're getting a top-notch education, but there's a weird attraction. And so now LaBeouf is like, I don't know why I'm attracted to that dude, but I like that dude, and he's freaking out because 10 minutes ago he wasn't gay.
Yeah.
Now he's thinking he's gay.
Right.
And of course, Elle Fanning is looking at LaBeouf and going, it's too bad he's not straight. Because we could really, I know I'm a chick. I'd really be into this dude, but this dude likes other dudes.
Right.
So they don't know it. And they find themselves spending a lot of time together.
Right.
And like,
there's when they
brush up
study one night, they fall asleep, they wake up.
Yeah, there's a weird moment where they wake up in each other's arms, And of course, we have the moment where she pulls the hair out of the bun. And does that.
Yeah.
And then, of course,
the wig comes off. You could do it that way.
Love is found, and they both go to an Ivy League school. But the point is, that weird moment where Shia starts finding himself being attracted. And he learns a lot about not only himself, but life through this experience.
Have you ever thought about merging this with one of your other great ideas, Gay Eye?
Ooh. Gay Eye.
What was the Gay Eye one?
Well, Gay Eye...
It was an eye transplant, but he was given the eye of...
Well, listen, I've seen enough movies where the guy gets the heart of a serial killer,
right,
and then he becomes a serial killer.
Or he gets the serial killer's hand.
Yeah, and that becomes a killing hand. Yeah. Even the eye. If you get the eye of a serial killer...
Yeah, then you can become a serial killer.
Stop giving out parts from serial killers. Evidently, it's not working out nicely. In the donor program.
Yeah.
But you get whatever you get, then that becomes you.
Yeah.
So this guy, he's like a semi-racist guy. He works at a transmission shop. He lives in Kentucky. He's into blue-collar comedy and the NASCAR and all that stuff. He gets in a horrible accident.
Loses an eye.
Hot transmission fluid. He gets the eye. Guy bought it in a moped accident in Antigua. And he gets the eye, the one gay eye. And so it's like he's just sitting there and he's like, one minute he's looking at his chick's rack and the next minute the eye starts wandering over to like the dude's crack, and then he's like, and his best buddy is going to be Larry the Cable Guy.
Yeah.
And he's going to be like, get her done. And he's going to be like, Larry, you've been working out? And Larry's like, what the heck? We're going fishing, son.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he's redecorating his trailer, and it's all, and he can communicate. All of a sudden, his girlfriend, his girlfriend is like, God, you're so sensitive now, and you're listening, and we're going candle shopping together, and he's taking a me day, and his eyes turned his life around. Yeah, I could combine just one of the gays with gay eye.
It would be hard. I don't know if it's ever been tried. You're basically taking two fake movies and you're merging them into one larger,
it could be done.
Bigger fake movie.
It could be done.
I got a million emails about this, that somebody really did try to create the real life pedophile, and I don't remember if we talked about this on the podcast,
but I saw that.
People are really excited that this pedophile, that might be your legacy.
It's intriguing. It'd be nice.
It's a good way to go out.
It'd be nice to remember.
That might push you past Sharon Stone.
Yeah. The X. Yeah, we're crossing. Yeah.
Hold on, I got to read the dates that you have coming up here.
You know what? I'm coming out to the East Coast, Philly and Boston and all sorts of places like that. I think D.C. Here's the thing.
Hold on, I got them.
Yeah.
So December 1st, Keswick Theater in Philly. December 2nd, Royal Oak Theater in Detroit.
We'll show Gay Eye when I do this, by the way. I have it.
December 3rd, Saturday, 2 shows at the Park West Theater in Chicago.
Oh, good venue.
December 4th, the Paramount Theater in Denver. God, they're flying you around.
Yeah.
Check out AdamCarolla.com.
Yeah, for all the dates. It's all there.
Dates.
Check out the app. It's all free.
And also, your live show is really fun. I don't know how you do that. You have probably 30 hours of content you could just crank out at any point now with the slideshow.
Just sort of like a band that has too many songs, so we just mix and match the set up and have fun. And Bill did it. It was great. It was fun, right?
That was fun. I would do that again.
Well, next time
I actually get sad when I have to leave because you only have the guest for 10 minutes.
Yeah. Well, when we're coming to Anaheim, December 15th or something like that, we're doing the Grove, so maybe you come out.
All right. And Mike August got married. That's the last thing.
Yes, he did.
He and his and our agent gave a 25-minute speech about how cheap he was. It's the Brad's horrified family.
Yeah, at my house.
First thought he was joking, and then came to the sad realization at about the 20-minute mark that he wasn't joking, and their daughter had married a total cheapskate.
Yes.
It was pretty good. Adam Carolla, always a pleasure.
Always a pleasure, Bill.
So I get to sign off. Whoa!
Thank you for downloading the BS Report with Bill Simmons.
Too much fun.
Check out more podcasts at the iTunes Music Store or at Podcenter at ESPNRadio.com.
Peace out.
Nothing starts the morning right like a chock full of witty sports and pop culture commentary from Bill Simmons. That is, except of course for the $3 flatbread breakfast combo at Subway restaurants. For just $3, you can wake up to a 6-inch flatbread breakfast sandwich with a 16-ounce cup of freshly brewed Seattle's best coffee or refreshing 21-ounce fountain drink. Kickstart your taste buds with an egg and cheese, Black Forest ham, egg and cheese, or bacon egg and cheese, made fresh to order with all your favorites like juicy tomatoes and jalapenos, along with a cup of coffee or fountain drink, all for just $3. The $3 flatbread breakfast combo. Hurry in and score one today, because a deal this flat out delicious won't last forever. Subway, eat fresh.